Financial literacy. How are you going to learn the basics? Well, I'm going to break it down in 10 minutes for you guys. Some of the key steps to really focus on if you want to learn financial literacy. Reason why this is important is because anything else you see out there, if it's for investments, your stocks, your cryptos, your insurances, commodities, forex, whatever you're doing, day trading, I don't care what you do, but you have to learn the basics of financial literacy. So, ladies and gents, just here to drop a few cents. You're here with Earl, the Money Coach. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe because I'm going to leave you guys every week some financial tips. But let's get started. And the first thing you really need to understand is how to manage your expenses. The first and foremost thing is a budget. Being a decade in the financial industry, before I sit down with any client, the first thing I do is a budget. And I can tell you, 8 out of 10 clients do not have a budget. And those that do not have a budget, most likely they end up being paycheck to paycheck. Now, all my clients that do have a budget, they regularly have a sound mind, know where they're going, able to focus on what needs to be done, and really make sure that everything's working accordingly. So make sure that you have a budget, you stick to your budget, and you're looking at this, the first of every month. You want to make sure that you stay within your limits and you have everything going from there. Now, the second thing you want to look at is a lot of your subscriptions, all these different things. How many people are just wasting money on what they don't know? A huge website that a lot of folks use is Rocket Money. You can put all your information in the Rocket Money. It will show you when you have different things, different bills. If you have old subscriptions, for me, one of the things I found out, I had two different subscriptions on two different cards, and I wasn't even recognizing I was paying it. So make sure that you're always auditing what all your subscriptions are and auditing what you have, and you're starting to save. The next thing I always talk about is the 95-5 rule. Now, what is 95-5? The 95-5 rule is for building a emergency fund. All of you need to have an emergency fund. We always say at least 6 months. If God forbid something happens to you, you have 6 months to be able to take care of everything. Now, what is that 95-5 rule? It's very simple. You have 95% of your income, your direct deposit goes to your primary account, and you have 5% going somewhere else. We always say, out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? And that's huge. You either have, if your company allows you to have your direct deposit go multiple places, hey, have at it. If not, whenever you know you get paid, you automatically have, hey, the day I'm getting paid every other Friday, I have 5% coming out. So you want to kind of start building an emergency fund, because if you don't have anything in play, even if you want to start investing, even if you want to start saving, guess what? If you don't have an emergency fund, whatever you're looking at for investing and all that kind of stuff, you may have to dip into that instead of doing something else. So you want to make sure you have your emergency funds pretty much in step. Now, I always talk about protecting your finances. You want to make sure you're protecting your finances. If it's for data breaches, always have two-factor authorization, all these different things, because unfortunately, so many people, especially with these scams out here right now, people are what? They're going into your accounts, cleaning people out because they're not making sure that they have their finances protected. So make sure you have all the security and everything in place so nothing can happen. And anytime you see something suspicious, you automatically want to go through that. Now, the reason why this is huge is because it's something most people don't think about until it's too late. If they're not focused on that day one, guess what? A lot of stuff could happen, and now you have to wait weeks or possibly months. I had one time a couple years ago when someone hacked into my account and took my funds. It took me almost 7 months just to be able to fight everything and get everything back. So that's huge. Now, another great step that you want to have is focusing on managing and reducing your debt. Work if you're doing the snowball effect, the avalanche method, snowball method, whichever method that you're doing, make sure you're eliminating debt, and you know how debt itself works. There's 5 areas that they actually start to look at stuff when it comes to your debt accumulation, your debt usage, negative, the length, all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure you're working on this. The reason why this is huge is because compound interest, compound interest could be good or it could be bad, especially when it comes to your debt. When you have a high annual percentage rate, what's happening? You're accumulating and compounding your debt very quickly. So it's super important to understand that you're focusing on your debt, you have your debts taken care of, And all these things are factored in so you could start to save money and get everything good to go. Now, when it comes to the financial literacy side, you have to learn the basics of your investing. How does investing work? How does capital gains work? A lot of time I talk about index accounts. So you have money in index accounts, index funds, all these things. So if the markets go up, your money's going up. The market goes down, your money's locked in. If you have a retirement from your job, understand the match. If you have a 401k, are they matching you? Are you fully vested from day one, or are you just regularly vested where you have to wait 3 to 5 years? Make sure you know these things. Make sure you're doing just to what the company has you matched for. Because anything you do over that company match, when the market goes down, they're not losing their money. You're losing your money. And then also understand when it comes to investing, when in doubt, zoom out. It's the time value of money. The biggest problem I see when people want financial literacy is they're trying to get rich quick. They're trying to beat around the bush and learn the quick way. Well, guess what? You need to learn if it's slow and steady wins the race. If you need to have patience, if you have something that's accumulating long term, understand the longer your money is in somewhere, the greater the return could be. A lot of folks just want to move in and out, in and out. You hear it all the time. If you just parked your money, say in the S&P 500, you parked it 20 years ago, even though the market went down, your rate of returns and your averages are going to be huge. So you want to make sure you understand the time of money that's in there. But here's a big key: is protection and insuring your money. So you're not just insuring yourself, because it's huge to have insurance on yourself, your life insurances and things in that nature, because if something happens to you, you want to have income be able to come in if you get sick, or if you have a heart attack, your cancer, your strokes, all these kind of things. You could have your life insurances with living benefits to kick in, but then also you want to make sure you have insurance for all other kind of stuff. If you have it for your cars, if you're having it for your phones, if you're having it for your houses, when it comes to wills, your estate plans, your trust, all those kind of things. You want to make sure that you have every area in your life protected. So some people think, oh, I don't have to worry about this, but guess what? You do need to. And even when it comes to your precious metals, your precious goods, if you have Rolexes, anything that could be of value, do you have that insured? Do you have that protected? Unfortunately, I have a client. They've been building since in the 80s. They had an old school Transformers collection. People think it's crazy, but he had the old school toys where they were still steel. So we're talking some of these items that were going for. If you look on eBay and online, we're talking $400 or $500 a pop. So his collection was estimated about $32,000 on the short side, and he had no protection or insurance. So you want to make sure when you have your funds, are you having it insured correctly? So I always say you have to understand these things when it comes to starting financial literacy, because everyone wants to do what they want to. Oh, how can I put my money in here quickly? How can I do this quickly? How can I take care of that? Well, guess what? If you don't have a budget, if you don't have an emergency fund, if you don't know how money works, if you don't have that protection for yourself and your funds, guess what? When it comes to investing and trying to build and accumulate wealth, it's going to take you longer. This is what we call a financial GPS. And financial GPS stands for grow, protect, and save. How are you going to grow, protect, and save your money correctly to be able to have that financial freedom that you're looking for? So it all starts with getting to understand finances and making sure yourself is financially literate on the basics. This video was to kind of point out the basics that you need to learn on. Because if you're not learning about these basics, if you don't know the basics of investing, the power of reducing your debt, emergency funds, all these different kind of rules to make sure you're not spending more than you're making, you master these basic rules, then it could go a long way for you. So folks, I always say before you start investing, learn the basics to get financial literacy. I wanted to kind of just re-talk about those categories in this video. So make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe, and click on the links in the description below to be able to help yourself financially with your wills, trust, estate plans, getting automatically improving life insurances. And for those that want health savings accounts, check the links in the description. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care.